So, hey y'all. Um, it's Thanksgiving Day, and this is not my normal YouTube video that I normally do. I'm not even sure if I will post this to YouTube. That is the plan, but as I said, it's not my usual type of video. It's just some of my thoughts today on Thanksgiving and my non-traditional Thanksgiving, I guess you would say. I'm just kind of talking. I've had a quiet Thanksgiving so far. Been remembering some of the great Thanksgivings from years gone by and just kind of reminiscing, having a nostalgic type of day. I'm sure there are many others like me who are out there not doing the traditional Thanksgiving large family gathering with too much to eat, football parades, lots of noise, lots of arguing, and lots of laughing, all the things that go along with the traditional American Thanksgiving day. I've been remembering some of my favorite memories from growing up and adulthood from Thanksgivings gone by, and thought I would just maybe share some of those memories with you and remembering them myself. My family never did what everyone considers the traditional Thanksgiving custom. I don't remember my mother ever spending the day in the kitchen cooking. Not that she couldn't cook, she was a great cook, but that was never our thing to do, was to have a big family dinner on Thanksgiving. From my earliest memories, and I'm talking at least the age of 4, I'm sure earlier than that, but of course I have no memory, but from my earliest memories of Thanksgiving, probably starting around age 4 that I remember, we always went fishing on Thanksgiving. We lived growing up about an hour and a half from the beach, and Thanksgiving we would get in my daddy's blue Chevy pickup, fishing poles in the back, and we would head to the beach fishing on the pier. And it would be cold, and of course as a child I can remember wanting to get in the water and my parents trying to convince me the water was cold that time of year. But we would get out on the pier and we would spend the day fishing. I'm not really sure how much my daddy ever caught fishing, because he spent the day baiting and casting lines for my mom and me, and taking the fish off the hook and baiting the next line and casting it. And so I'm not really sure how much fishing he did, but it was our tradition. And we would fish all morning, and then come lunchtime they would usually have a little cafe attached to the pier we were fishing at. And my mom and me would walk up to there, and we would get the normal dinner was cheeseburgers and french fries, and we would come back with cheeseburgers and french fries. And I would sit Indian style on the wooden pier and unwrap my cheeseburger and fries and have what I thought was the best dinner ever. Kids today, they grow up with cheeseburgers all the time. We didn't grow up with cheeseburgers all the time. Cheeseburgers and french fries were a treat for me when I was growing up. We didn't fast food it all the time. We ate at home cooked meals, homegrown meals. So that was a big treat. So we would eat our lunch, and then we would spend the afternoon fishing. And then tradition always dictated, before we went home, we would stop and my dad would get a bushel of oysters. And that would be our supper for Thanksgiving supper. And I could still see him now. He didn't buy the oysters till he tasted them. So he would get out while we sat in the truck, and he would get the bushel of oysters. He'd pull out his pocket knife and he'd pop one open and try it. And I'd slide my little self right out the truck and, "Daddy, I want one." And he'd always give me one. And then it was, "Get back in the truck with your mom and you can have some more when we get home." So then we would make the drive home, and that night for supper, much to my mama's disappointment, I'm sure, because she was not a fan of raw oysters. But my dad and me, every one he would pop open, I would eat. And we would eat oysters, sometimes raw, sometimes steamed. Sometimes he would make oyster stew, which Mama would eat, or fried ones, but she wanted nothing to do with our raw oysters. But that was the tradition for every year I can remember growing up. And I remember when I got in school, and telling, all the kids would be talking about what they were going to do or what they had done over Thanksgiving. And when I told them I went to the beach fishing and I didn't have a big dinner, dressed up, sitting around a table with family, I think some of them, they were actually a little jealous. They thought it was strange, but I think some of them were actually a little jealous that I got to go to the beach fishing. But that was the tradition until I was grown, actually. After I got to adulthood, I somehow thought it was a little cold to spend the day on the pier fishing, so kind of wandered around there for a couple of years trying to, find our way, find a new tradition. Daddy would still sometimes go fishing, but, family sickness and different things as you get older. My grandmother broke her hip one year, so my mom couldn't go fishing, and that kind of broke the tradition, I guess you would say. And after that, we adopted a new tradition. My mama's aunt by marriage and her sister, both of them were widowed older ladies, and their family did not live here. They had moved here when they got married, and their family was probably 100 or so miles away, so they were basically alone for Thanksgiving. And my mom and me, we started, I don't know how we came into it, but we started going back to the beach, except we didn't fish this time. We took them with us, and we spent the day at the mall at the beach shopping. A lot of times we didn't buy a whole lot. We started our Christmas shopping. The mall would be decorated, ready for Black Friday the next day, and it would be decorated for Christmas. So the music would be playing, the mall was all decorated in Christmas decorations, and we would spend the day all over the mall. Huge mall, and it was basically quiet until later in the afternoon when people started wandering out after they'd had their turkey and were looking for something to do. But for the most part, until 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it was a quiet experience. It was wonderful. The music be playing, the mall would be decorated, but the crowd wouldn't be there. And for Thanksgiving dinner those years, we stopped at whatever little place in the mall was open and usually got something like a hot dog and French fries. And we would spend the whole day shopping or window shopping a lot of times, because as I said, we would buy stuff, and sometimes we didn't buy as much, but we would come back home and have Thanksgiving supper with my daddy. He didn't care to shop. He would stay home and do things in the yard or watch TV, or we would come back home and we would have Thanksgiving supper with him. And that was our tradition for many years. We went shopping. My mom's aunt and her sister, they so look forward to that. We would spend the day shopping, and we did that for several years. By then I was working, and co-workers thought that I was the oddest thing. They were like, you have hot dogs for Thanksgiving dinner and you don't hang out with your family, you go shopping. And it became a big joke, because they were like, you're gonna have a hot dog again this year for Thanksgiving? I'm like, yeah, probably gonna have a hot dog again at the mall. They thought that was odd. And as my mom's aunt and her sister, my mom's aunt actually got sick, and they moved back home to be closer to family. So that kind of busted up that tradition. And then my mom and I we would go shopping. We would usually stay local a lot of times, and we would go to whatever stores were open on Thanksgiving, and we would sometimes start our Christmas shopping early, and other times shop for ourselves, and other times do what we call window shopping, where we don't actually buy a whole lot. We just enjoy spending the day together, looking around and goofing off and laughing, because my mom and I just had the best time. We could laugh at nothing. It would be private jokes, but we would have the best time. We would come home and have supper with my dad. He was never a shopper. I did have, two or three maybe traditional Thanksgivings fit in different places. I had Thanksgiving one year with a friend and their family, and my fiance, I had Thanksgiving with him and his parents, a couple of years. And he was big on the traditional Thanksgiving, and he enjoyed cooking, and we had the traditional Thanksgiving a couple of times. But my mom and I would usually, as I said, spend the day shopping. After a few years, sometimes we wouldn't stay local. We would go to another little town that was probably 45 minutes, an hour away, and that would be something different. We would go there and we would shop, and whatever was open for lunch, we would have lunch there. And like I said, we would start our Christmas shopping or window shop or buy for ourselves, or just enjoy the day looking around and just laughing and talking and just spending time together. We did that until my mom got kind of sick and wasn't able to do that anymore. So then it became kind of a quiet, stay at home type of thing, which was okay because we would watch reruns on TV or do that. We still didn't do the traditional. But my mom died the week of Thanksgiving 6 years ago now, and boy, do I miss her. And if I talk about it, I will start crying. So I don't want to dwell on that. But boy, Thanksgiving took on a whole different meaning after that. I'm thankful to still have my dad, but today has been one of those quiet Thanksgivings like I've been having for the past few years. I went to the cemetery and visited with my mom, like I've done every Thanksgiving since. And I did eat a hot dog for her. I had a hot dog for lunch today for Thanksgiving. I was able to find the Thanksgiving story for the Waltons on TV. I was able to watch that and been kind of laying low watching Andy Griffith reruns, actually. That's been my tradition today. It's been really quiet. I've been in the recliner watching Andy Griffith and whatever reruns are on TV, just having a quiet day, reflecting, remembering. Boy, the happy memories of days gone by. As I said, I know that's not tradition. I know many of you out there are doing the big Thanksgiving feast where you will eat leftovers for days. And if that is your Thanksgiving tradition, then you look forward to that just as much as I look forward to fishing or shopping or spending the time with my family. My parents were always my best friends growing up. They've always been my best friends. I had lots of other friends, but my parents were my best friends. And spending the day, whether it was fishing or shopping, there was nothing better because I was with the people. That's what the tradition is whatever you're doing today, are you with the people that mean the most to you? Because growing up, I was always with them. And you sure miss them when they're not here. But I'm sure there's many others like me today who they don't have family around, their family's gone possibly, or there have been hard feelings, or maybe they can't afford to fix the big Thanksgiving dinner. Maybe their family has moved far away, or they've moved far away. I'm sure there are others like me today who feel a little let down, and the best Thanksgivings are the ones gone. You don't have the usual day that other people are having. And I guess that's why I'm on here talking. There are other people like me out there, I'm sure, who aren't necessarily doing what they used to do that is their tradition. They aren't necessarily having the greatest of days, but like I said, I'm still thankful to have my dad, and I'm thankful for all the wonderful years I had my mom. And I'm thankful I got a roof over my head, and I'm thankful for the hot dog I had. So there's still a spirit of thankfulness, even if it's not doing the day like you would like to do, or doing what you would have done years ago. I'm thankful for the memories. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to close with, I'm thankful for the memories. I'm thankful that I had those good Thanksgivings to look back on, to remember now. Had no idea at the time how much I would need those now. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I'll see you hopefully later with maybe a happier video at another time. Be thankful for what you've got.